AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Welcome back, Paul. Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Oh, by the way, it's a hump day.
It's hump day.
Hey, Paul.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Hey, Matt.
Hump day.
You remember what buttons to push?
It's hump day.
I'm going to try my best.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
How's baby Matthew George Moscona O'Neal the fourth doing?
Hump day.
I'm sorry, what?
It's hump day.
Your son.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
You mean Miles?
Yeah, that's what I said. Baby Matthew George Moscona O'Neal the fourth.
It's hump day.
How's he doing?
I have no clue what you just said.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Lies!
Hump day.
Lies!
It's hump day.
Welcome back, Paulie.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Thank you.
Are you sleeping at all?
Actually, not.
Hump day.
Not too bad, yeah. We're getting good sleep.
It's hump day.
How's Opal?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
She's doing pretty good. Adjusting,
Hump
but
day.
good.
Muse is still trying to figure out his buttons over there.
It's hump day.
He's new to it.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
I see nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Hump day.
Yeah. Did you think it would?
It's hump day.
Nope.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Paulie knew to wait.
Hump day.
I know the cues.
It's hump day.
How's Sam?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
You're doing really well. Very good.
Hump day.
Good. Glad to hear.
It's hump day.
We welcome to the world, baby, Matthew George Moscona O'Neal the fourth.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Happy for all of you.
Hump day.
Thank you.
It's hump day.
See, he didn't deny it. Muse told you.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
He definitely denied it early. Yeah, he said that.
Hump day.
He just went along with it.
It's hump day.
All right, we got a lot to do. Paulie's back. A dad times two. We're glad to have you back, dude. Let's get cranked up here and begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, that was almost really ugly. For like 2 innings. LSU got down 6-1 to Southern. If you weren't watching, Jaden Newt was not very good. He did face the minimum in the first. They had a caught stealing after he allowed a single, but faced the minimum in the first. The second got hairy. Tigers gave up 3 runs. Then Chris Stanfield had a very uncharacteristic misplay in the outfield on a low liner that he was charging and went off his glove and ended up being a 3-run error. So LSU found itself down 6-1 very quickly. But then Derek Curiel blasted a grand slam. LSU was within 6-5. Milam hit a solo shot to tie it. Rains came. It was about an hour-long weather delay. They resumed at 9:50, and then LSU just never stopped. A 7-run fourth, 5 runs in the fifth, and then they would go into run rule, the Southern Jags. A little bit of a feel-good in the belly as the Tigers will now head on the road to take on Tennessee. Here was Jay Johnson after the win against Southern.
Yeah, I was proud of our team. Did a good job tonight. Didn't like getting behind again, 6-1, but handled that really, really well. Thought it was a great night for the offense. A lot of guys contributing, a lot of free passes, a lot of extra base hits, a lot of clutch hitting, a lot of good situational hitting, and it was good to be able to help out the pitching that way.
Maybe LSU's offense is like Seabiscuit. They got to be behind so they could stare the other horse in the eye and then charge. Right? Maybe they're just not a good front runner. Maybe they got to get down 7-0 to Kentucky or 6-1 to Southern, then to go on and make hay. Jay said took a lot of walks. They did. They walked 7 times. LSU was hit by pitch twice, so Southern pitching gave LSU 9 base runners. But in just 7 innings for the Tigers, 6 at-bats, they scored 16 runs on 13 hits. So LSU did to a SWAC school what a team like LSU should do to a SWAC school. There were 2 other, I think, notable parts of this game. One was Cade Arambete's return, and it was great to see him back out there. Here was Jay on Arambete being back behind the dish.
Very happy. We need him. You know, both him and Omar, I think, are good offensive players, and, you know, they're going to stay good offensive players if they can spell each other on the defense. And so it was good to get him back in there. And I liked his first swing, RBI single with 2 strikes, walked early in the game, scored a couple runs, and that was really, really good to see. And again, like, you know, you put him in a situation like that where that's the 9-hole hitter, you could lose track of him, and he can drive in runs and be a productive player down there.
Very capable. We know he's got big-time power. Jay said on his radio show Monday that Arambete was dealing with a little bit of a nick, and so they gave him a couple days off this weekend. He was back out there behind the dish, which was great to see. He mentioned caught a runner stealing in the first inning. He was 1 for 3 with a walk as well, so he was on base twice. The 2 times he was retired were both strikeouts. But you need Cade Arambete, if for nothing else, for options, to have a more veteran presence behind home plate. I think Omar Cerna is the future and is going to be outstanding player. Already is outstanding offensive player at LSU. But you need Arambete back there as well. So to have Arambete back was a great sign going into Tennessee this week. The other is, you know, LSU is looking for guys out of the bullpen in particular that can throw the ball over the plate. It's been a real bugaboo for this team. They are pacing to set the program record for walks in a single season. They collectively walked 20 over the weekend against Kentucky. So if you can find someone who can go out there and throw strikes, great. And Danny Lockenmeyer did that. Went out there, gave you an inning, faced the minimum, did have a strikeout. And after the game, Jay Johnson effectively said, you're going to see more of him moving forward.
He's pitched 3 times in the last 4 games and has had success. You know, got Tyler Bell out the other day in a huge situation, one of the best players in the country, and then, you know, got an out in the game on Friday. So excited to get him out there more, and he'll become a bigger part of our plans.
I'm curious to see what that'll look like or what that means, and, you know, perhaps what that is in this moment here where Cooper Moore is out and everyone has sort of moved up a notch. You know, if that's Gavin Guidry moving from the bullpen to the starting rotation, or if maybe if they want a lefty and it's Garcia, then maybe a guy like Lockenmeyer becomes one of those bullpen arms that sort of steps up a notch. You're looking for guys that can consistently take the ball and throw strikes, and he's shown now the last few times he's been out there that he's capable and deserves the opportunity. Now, throwing a clean 4th against Southern on a Tuesday night in a game that was rain delayed is dramatically different than taking the ball on the road in Knoxville in a key SEC series and going and hurling a clean inning and throwing strikes. But you deserve the opportunity when you got to this point. So he'll be the guy that gets it. So LSU beats Southern. They'll hit the road to take on Tennessee this weekend. We'll talk to you more about the Vols as we move through. We'll talk to Kendall Rogers on Thursday, and then obviously have a full preview on Friday. But Actually, we're not. My apologies. Friday's Good Friday. We're not here, so we'll do our full preview tomorrow on the show on Thursday. But it is. It's going to be a very interesting series because what we think we know about Tennessee and what they had become under Tony Vitello is different now with Josh Elander. The pitching coach is now the head coach. They don't hit it quite like they did under Vitello. They just got swept on the road at Vanderbilt where they were walked off 3 times. 2 teams right now that really need a series win, especially Tennessee after being swept on the road against Vandy and playing this one at home. So a giant opportunity for LSU and a pretty desperate moment for Tennessee this weekend. So we'll talk more about that series tomorrow. For what it's worth, I mentioned Kendall is going to be here on the show tomorrow for his usual Thursday spot. D1 Baseball does have their field of 64 projection out. And for whatever it's worth, they do have Tennessee among the last 4 in. They have Vanderbilt among the first 4 out. And then they do have LSU as a 2 seed in the Charlottesville Regional. So that's Virginia, right? So Virginia would be the host there. And they got where Virginia would be the number 5 national seed. And they got LSU as the 2, UConn as the 3, and Bucknell as the 4. That regional will be paired with Tuscaloosa, where they have Alabama as the 12 overall seed. So, look, when you have this many SEC teams that are potential regional hosts, generally you're going to see some of those supers paired, or the opportunity for supers being paired. But in any event, they got LSU as a 2 seed in Charlottesville. So maybe betting on the come a little bit with this LSU team that struggled out the gate, but hopefully looking up with an opportunity this weekend going to Knoxville. All right, it's After Further Review. Show Open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of your Fighting Tigers of LSU. If you're going to be watching Tigers and Vols this weekend, make sure you have plenty of delicious ice-cold Bud Light. Certainly a lot of crawfish boils on Easter weekend. If it's Easter Sunday or if it's on Saturday or Good Friday, you're going to be boiling crawfish. Make sure you have plenty of delicious ice-cold Bud Light. The Tigers will be playing. You might as well grab those officially licensed LSU aluminum cans or bottles, the 16-ounce bottles that have the national championship logo. I tell you all the time, get 2 cases. 1 is a keepsake, 1 to drink, or as many as you want to drink. But drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Glad you're hanging out with us here on a Hump Day edition of AFR presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. John Brady in 1 hour, of course, former Tiger coach. I want to get his perspective on Will Wade's return. We'll do that next hour. A former Tiger, Alex Milazzo, will be here in hour number 3. Milazzo and the Tigers in 24 went through a similar process that this team has, coming off a national championship, slow out the gate, built late. See if you see some similarities, and also what he sees from these 2 young catchers. We'll talk about that with Alex coming up in hour number 3. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Zach Wilson did an interview on WWL Radio. Let's hear from the new Saints quarterback when we return on AFR.
AFR.
Brought by the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Renaissance right there on Blue Bonnet near I-10. It is the premier place in Baton Rouge to host an event, no matter what type of event you're trying to host. Remember, their grand ballroom can host crowds up to 500 people. So, whether it's, Greek life events that they've had there, fundraisers, awards banquets, so many different uses for that space. Wedding receptions, weddings. Renaissance Baton Rouge can host any and all of it, and they'll use and manipulate their space however they need to fit the size, scale, scope of your event, catering the whole thing. It's at Renaissance Baton Rouge, and the convenience of Renaissance Baton Rouge is really unmatched. I mean, we all know directions in Baton Rouge begin with get on I-10. Well, right there, I-10, Blue Bonnet near I-10. Check them out. It's Renaissance Baton Rouge.
After Further Review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
That the NFL is hard. I mean, no doubt about it. It is hard to play well in this league, and to just be in the league is such a blessing. And so for me, it's just enjoying being out there on the field and making good friends and doing my absolute best I can to be the best quarterback I can be, and just love playing ball, going out there and competing. And the story is, I'm grateful for it, no doubt. I mean, it taught me a lot of things about myself, and it's helped me become a better person and just understanding how the NFL game works. And I think it's a great experience for me.
Zach Wilson interview on WWL radio. He must have been in a state with a no handset rule. You know what I mean? The hands-free, like California's got a hands-free law.
Yeah.
You have to be on hands-free. If you're driving and you're holding the handset, boom, arrested. Under the jail.
Under the jail.
Yep. Mama didn't raise no fool. But Zach Wilson, of course, we know signed a free agent deal with the New Orleans Saints. And, I mean, he's bounced around from his time with the Jets, where he was the number 2 overall pick. Denver, Miami, out of didn't play. And then now, obviously, to New Orleans on a 1-year contract where he'll battle with Spencer Rattler to be the backup quarterback. It'll be interesting to see. When Zach Wilson signed with New Orleans, kind of gave you a thought on that addition, and I really like it for all the reasons I've said when the Saints added Jameis Winston, when the Saints drafted Spencer Rattler, and kind of what Zach Wilson said there, which is the journey and the humility. There is something to that. When you have these athletes that are so physically gifted and have never really struggled in their life, and they meet adversity, I think you go one of two ways. There are very notable, you could say busts. If you want to talk about Ryan Leaf or Jamarcus Russell, notable examples of guys that went the other way. They met adversity and were not able to overcome it at a young age. And then you have other players, like maybe the best example is the quarterback that just won the Super Bowl, who was also a Jets cast-off, and Sam Darnold. I'm not sitting here trying to suggest that Zach Wilson is going to go on, be a starting quarterback somewhere and win a Super Bowl, but nobody would have thought that of Sam Darnold when he was cast off from the Jets and then had this sort of nomadic journey from Carolina and San Francisco and then to Minnesota and then obviously landing in Seattle and winning a Super Bowl. That's uncommon. That's unlikely to happen again. But the fact that it's happened shows you that you can find value in quarterbacks who are physically gifted and maybe thought to be just sort of thrown on the trash heap, but the right place for that player could mean a great opportunity. Baker Mayfield is another awesome example of that. A guy that was the number 1 overall pick, won a playoff game with the Cleveland Browns. I mean, the Cleveland Browns are infamous right now for that stupid jersey with all the names of the starting quarterbacks of the Browns since they became a franchise again in 1999. And Baker actually won a playoff game with that team, and they're like, nah, we're good, you stink. And so then Baker starts bouncing around the league. Carolina, the Rams, join the Rams midweek and end up starting for that team. Goes to Tampa and finds himself and ends up winning a couple of division titles. And now he's a really established starting quarterback in the NFL. So it can happen. And so I look at guys like Mac Jones, who was fantastic in relief of Brock Purdy this year when Purdy was injured in San Francisco. And I wonder about that with guys like Tua or Kyler Murray. And, yes, Zach Wilson.
Murray, present.
Thank you. I think the runway is getting shorter for Zach Wilson because now it's not just one spot. We've seen it in multiple spots. And you could say the same with Darnold, and to a degree that's true, but Darnold had a great year in Minnesota. I mean, they won 14 games in 2024. And Minnesota had J.J. McCarthy there, who they had drafted, and they were going to commit to their first-round pick. And so Darnold went to Seattle and won a Super Bowl. But we just haven't seen that at all from Zach Wilson. From being out of New York after 3 seasons, being traded to the Broncos and not playing in 2024, then this year in 2025 with the Dolphins, and now with the Saints. I mean, he's on his 4th team since 2023. It's four teams in as many seasons now. So I don't know that I'm suggesting Zach Wilson is going to become a starter again ever in the NFL or become a good quarterback. But what's undeniable is you have a guy that's only 26 years old, still in his physical prime, has the ability, the physical ability that made him the number 2 overall pick, and has been humbled at this point, and now maybe can find lessons and value in that humility that'll make him a better player to whatever that ceiling might be for him in the NFL. And maybe it's just a journeyman backup, or maybe he will find a path like Baker or like Sam Darnold did to be somebody's franchise quarterback. Now, He did answer in this interview what was appealing about playing for the New Orleans Saints.
A little bit during the process, I was just looking for something different, maybe a little different offense than I've been a part of in my first year, something that maybe fit me better. It's always been important to me to find a coach that's played the position, that understands what it's like to play quarterback in the NFL. A place with a younger room that has opportunity, and, that made it easy with Kellen. I felt like he does a great job with that stuff, and Scott and Doug as well, and I think it's gonna be a great opportunity.
That, of course, being Scott Tolzien, Doug Nussmeier. When you look at the quarterback coach, the offensive coordinator, then Kellen Moore. You have 3 NFL quarterbacks that are on the Saints offensive staff. And, we have talked about this a good bit over the last year plus since Kellen Moore's been the Saints head coach. And I've long lobbied to have a veteran backup quarterback in the room to help sort of tutor and mold your young guys, but also to have a veteran backup option. But the counter argument to that has been, well, you've got 3 former NFL quarterbacks coaching. And I don't know, I guess I just sort of look at examples of like Drew Brees, who liked having that sort of veteran or young veteran backup quarterback. If it was, Brunell or McCown or Chase Daniel, that when he came to the sideline, he had someone there he trusted that he could bounce things off of. But I guess to each their own and different strokes sort of thing. But the other thing with Zach Wilson, he's 26 and Kellen Moore's 37. So, they're only 11 years apart. And maybe there's some familiarity and sort of relationship there that makes sense. I also thought it was – can you play that one, though? This was Zach Wilson talking about why having a coach that played quarterback was important to him.
There's something about it that watching how the game unfolds, you never quite understand until you are in it. Like, watching it is entirely different than being in it. And so having a coach that understands what that's like and understanding what made it harder for them and being able to simplify that and help their quarterbacks make it easier and finding what things help them as a player and made things more comfortable, whether it's footwork or timing or things that they coached or how they coached, what they felt like they learned easier than other things. And so I think it's that aspect of it. A lot of coaches in this game have never played the position. They're just super smart and do a good job with scheme and all of that stuff. But as far as teaching the position and helping guys develop, personally, I feel like you need to play the position in order to do that.
I think that's a little bit of a challenging comment. Maybe not to be a head coach, but maybe someone who's played the position to coach the position could make a little bit of sense. I think there are certainly examples of quarterbacks that won with coaches who weren't quarterbacks, but you need someone on staff, maybe is what he's alluding to there, who has played the position to be able to coach it at a high level. In any event, again, there's an interview that Zach Wilson did on WWL radio, and the other thing we talked about was sort of this journey that he's taken, but he also, of course, is following a similar path of Sam Darnold, as we just alluded to, as a cast-off from the Jets, who then went on, bounced around, and then won a Super Bowl. And so he was asked specifically about that and learning anything from Darnold's path.
Obviously, I love rooting for guys. I think the league is tough in general, and it's always cool when you see those kind of comeback stories from guys. But, for me personally, it's just focusing on being the best player that I can be and, not being too hard on myself and just understanding the league is tough as it is and just trying to keep improving. And the opportunities I can't control. So if those ever present themselves, I got to make focuses at.
So Sam Darnold's last year in New York was the COVID season, and then that following year is when the Jets drafted Zach Wilson. So they cast off Sam Darnold after the COVID year. The 21 draft, they select Zach Wilson, 3 years in New York, and then it was Denver, Miami, and now New Orleans in the 3 subsequent seasons. So we'll see how the year in New Orleans may go for Zach Wilson, or if he even makes the team. But it's going to be an interesting storyline to follow, especially with the recent history of highly drafted quarterbacks that were cast off by the team that drafted him, that went on to other places and found some degree of success. So that's one that we'll continue to follow. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. Southpointvw.com. Remember, you can always get to the website, shop their inventory. Right now, 2026 Jetta, 3.49% APR for 72 months. That's 6 years, y'all. 72 months is 6 years. And you can get it at South Point Volkswagen Airline, just north of Highland, or southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. At South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, y'all, it's after further review. We're going to knock out a quick break. No Taylor today. He had a bounce on us. No biggie. We're going to knock out a break. We'll go around the SEC when we come back. In an interesting piece that sort of assessed the one metric that illustrates the widening gap between the Power 4 and the G6, which I think we all know that's happening, especially in the portal era. But this metric sort of puts some definition to it. I want to explain. We'll get to that next. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Duplessis Builders. If you want that backyard oasis, that backyard paradise, that outdoor oasis, you can have it. And even if maybe you already have a pool, but that pool is dated or it's leaking, it's time for an upgrade. At Duplessis Builders, they do remodels as well. So if you don't need to dig the hole in the ground, you just need to remodel your pool, Duplessis Builders can do that for you as well. And it doesn't matter if it's pool, outdoor kitchens. They have pergolas that they can do as well, putting greens. So many options to help make your outdoor space a showplace where you'll love to entertain and enjoy being outdoors for years to come. It's DuplessisBuilders.net. That's the website. You can always go see Derek and the crew at their showroom on Airline Highway in Gonzales. If you go south on Airline into Gonzales, on the right next to the new Rouses, that's Airline and Duplessis Lane. DuplessisBuilders.net.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
We'll go around the SEC in just a quick second. One of the things I think we would all acknowledge undeniably is that the gap between the Power 4 and the G6 is growing. I think we all know that. I mean, it's an objective truth. The best players in the G6 end up jumping to the Power 4 where they're going to make more money and be on a bigger stage and all that stuff. It's one of the things I love about the portal era is you can have A.J. Halsey, who coming out of high school at 18 is not a highly recruited athlete. He goes and plays 3 years at New Mexico and Houston, becomes an all-conference player, and now has the opportunity to make money and play on a bigger stage to give himself an even better opportunity at the next level. I don't know why I literally don't know why anybody would be opposed to that. Because at 18, someone wasn't as developed as they are at 21. And so because of that, you should be more limited than someone who is further developed at 18. That's just nonsensical. So yes, I love the portal and the opportunity that presents, and I think that the G5 or the FCS should be a training ground for everything else, just like everything else in life is. So I have no problem whatsoever with that. It just means you have to, if you're a FCS or G6, you just have to reassess how you build a program and just understand that that's the guy you're recruiting and saying, come here. Will Wade did this at McNeese. I interviewed Will at McNeese, and he said this point blank. He wasn't upset about losing guys. That's what he recruited to. He told guys, hey, come here. We're going to do this for you. We're going to put you on. You're going to play 32 minutes a night. You're going to score 18 points a game. And then next year, you're going to get a big payday and go play in the power at a major program. Great. And we'll keep selling that. It's just how the world changes. So you can complain about it, or you can adjust accordingly. Anyway, I thought this put some definition to it. Hat tip to Chris Hummer over at CBS. So what he did was he looked at all conference players for the 10 FBS leagues and looked at the first or second team all conference honors and how many returned the next season. So 29% in 2025, 29% of the first or second team all-conference players at the G6 stayed at their school. The 73% that transferred ended up at the Power 4 level, naturally. By comparison, 75% of Power 4 all-conference players who returned in 2026 stayed with their previous team. So it's a gigantic gap there. If you want to sort of break it down even further by league, if you're looking at returning transfers among all conferences, so you just look at how this chart sort of inverts, okay? If you look at the Big Ten, there are 16 players that were all conference in 25 that are returning to college football in 2026. So like, some of them are like Caleb Downs, all conference. Well, he's going to the NFL, okay? So 16 players in the Big Ten that were all conference in 2025 are back in college football. None of them left. 0% left. The SEC, 22 are returning. 1 left. ACC, 6 out of 14. The Big 12, 10 of 23. You start to see that number rise. The Mountain West, 10 of 20 left. The Sun Belt, 13 of 18 left. That's 72%. In CUSA, 22 of 30 left. That's 73%. In the MAC, 18 of 24 all-conference performers left. That's 75%. And in the American, 18 of 23 first or second team all-conference players left. That's 78%. So you can see there how the inversion of the conferences when you're talking about the best players, the all-conference players, and how they're staying or leaving. Literally none of the returning first or second team all-conference players in the Big Ten left. 1 from the SEC left. 6 from the ACC, 10 from the Big 12, 50% Mountain West, 72% Sun Belt, 73% CUSA, 75% MAC, 78% American. And I'm not mad at it. How could you blame anyone? And if you want to shout loyalty, then I'll tell you the same thing I say every time. You want to shout loyalty, hold coaches and everything to the same standard. And then you get this garbage about, well, coaches are employees and they're under contract. The players have contracts now too. The players sign contracts, revenue share, contract agreements. Their scholarships are contracts, by the way. The players are signing contracts that have buyouts. Why do you think Damon Williams is still at Washington? He had a $4 million buyout. Darian Mensah, right now. There's going Duke suing him. Cincinnati's suing Brennan Sorsby for breaking their contract. Don't tell me there's no contracts. They all have contracts now. You can have the ostrich effect and put your head in the sand and pretend like it doesn't exist that way. But everybody that wants things to go back to the way they were, you're realizing all you're doing is wanting to revert to a system that caused this now. You're never going back to the way it was. If you don't like this, then find a new system that'll be acceptable and approachable for everybody. But if you think going back to the way it was is the answer, it'll never happen because the players are never going to go back to the way it was. You can't feed somebody filet mignon and then want them to go back to red beans and rice. Shout out Jacques Doucet. It's after further review. You can email us, tweet us, or text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Speaking of, go get filet mignon at Rouse's. Probably get red beans at Rouse's as well. You can certainly get crawfish at Rouse's. Hey, I know Easter weekend is a giant crawfish weekend, right? People do crawfish boils a ton on Easter weekend. At Rouse's, they have both live and boiled crawfish. So if you want your live crawfish, if you're doing your own boil, get your order in for your live crawfish now at Rouse's. Don't wait. The Rouse's nearest you. They'll have live crawfish for Easter weekend. If you prefer to have your crawfish boiled by somebody else, go pick them up at Rouse's. You can do that on Easter. We've actually done that a couple of years now as our families. If you have family moves away, celebrations, gatherings get smaller time to time. We've done that the past years, gone over to my folks' house. Dad just rolled over to Rouse's, picked up 20 pounds of crawfish or so, and then we'll go have a little appetizer, as it were. Either way, Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's. This feels like home. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Georgia Bulldogs.
Kirby Smart updated Gunnar Stockton's injury and his recovery. Says he's progressing nicely, ramping up his activity day to day. Although Kirby did not disclose the exact injury, Gunner is apparently right now competing with his teammates. 14 games as the starter last year, led Georgia to the college football playoff and the SEC title.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
Oklahoma lost commitment from 2028 running back Micah Rhodes, who's the top running back for the class of 2028. Former Oklahoma running back coach DeMarco Murray was hired by the Kansas City Chiefs. So with DeMarco Murray leaving for the professional level and the primary recruiter there for Rhodes has decommitted from OU. He had previously committed to OU over Texas and Texas A&M.
The Florida Gators.
Center Olivier Roux says he'll enter the transfer portal. Remember, he's the 7'9" preferred walk-on, played 11 games this past season for the Gators. Scored his first career points in Florida's win over Merrimack. He's the tallest college basketball player in history to score a game. 2 seasons in Gainesville, played sparingly as he was kind of reviewed as a project. But Root is hitting the portal.
The Missouri Tigers.
Guard Sebastian Mack says he'll enter the transfer portal as well. Played 18 games for Mizzou this past year. Averaged 7 points and 1 board per. Shot 40% from the floor. Spent 2 years at UCLA before transferring to Mizzou. Wasn't the only Missouri player to enter the portal. Fellow guard Anthony Robinson is also in the portal.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
And Josh Elander gave an update on injured catcher Stone Lawless. If you missed it over the weekend, got hit in the face. So he had a fracture, a facial fracture in his nose when he was hitting his left eye by a pitch in Sunday's series finale against Vanderbilt. He is a redshirt sophomore. He is expected, according to Elander, to miss, quote, significant time. I'm sorry, that was from GoVols 247. He's expected to miss, quote, significant time. Elander said, quote, he looks better. He did not play, obviously, in the midweek game. They're trying to figure out once the swelling goes down what the next steps will be. 6'2", 222. He's a redshirt sophomore from Huntsville. Started 21 of Tennessee's 29 games this season. Was hitting 250. Half of his hits have been for extra bases, but Tennessee going to be without Stone Lawless for a while. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. Hump Day shows are brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com. If it's hormone replacement therapy, if it's one of dozens of different peptides to help your body optimize to be your most efficient, vital self, to have great waking energy, clear brain fog, maybe bring down some, if you're maybe dealing with the ability to build muscle, to burn fat, to sleep better at night, to reduce anxiety. Peptides are a supplement that aren't replacing your body's natural ability to do these things. It magnifies, it amplifies your body's natural production of those materials that help do those things. It's worth taking the time to learn more, and our friends at Goodwood can help you with it. YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com. All right, it's After Further Review. Thanks for hanging out with us here, y'all. John Brady in 30 minutes from right now. We'll get Coach Brady's thoughts on Will Wade returning to coach the LSU Tigers, and are there any players on this roster worth returning? What realistically could be an expectation year one? We'll do all that with John Brady coming up here in about 30 minutes from right now. We're glad you're hanging out. Football Tigers are back on the practice field Thursday. We gave you a report yesterday to let you hear from Lane Kiffin. There's a few other things that I wanted to circle back to from Lane, his media availability. So we'll do that in about 15 minutes. Don't you move. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
What a great time to get by Clegg's Nursery. Man, what an awesome opportunity to do something fun with your whole family. Maybe it's, you and your spouse, or maybe get your kids involved if you got young kids still at the house. Go plant a vegetable garden. I mean, there are few things better than garden-to-table fresh vegetables from your garden. And they got Johnny Naylor seeds over at Clegg's. If you're a green thumb, you know about Johnny Naylor. If you're not, go to Clegg's. You'll get it. But they got this whole wall of seeds. So you want to plant your own vegetable garden, really fun activity. Listen, touch grass, ground yourself, get your hands in the dirt. It's great exercise. Get some natural vitamin D. Get outside, breathe fresh air. And then do something fun with your kids and also educational. And teach them responsibilities. They care for this vegetable garden as well. Clegg's Nursery can help you do it. Maybe you just want to add that pop of color here or take care of the weeds in your lawn. It's Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Fly ball to left has Castellanos back towards the corner and the wall, and it's gone. Matt Chapman's first home run of 2026 puts the Giants on top 4-0.
After being swept by the Yankees, the Giants finally got in the win column. They beat the Padres on Tuesday night 9-3. That would be Tony Vitello's first career win as a manager in Major League Baseball. The Giants posted a video there after the game of the reaction from the dugout. Vitello getting congratulations from his staff, a lot of the players, guys coming off the field, dapping him up, giving him hugs, tapping him on the hiney. And then in the post-game clubhouse, the team presented Tony V with a little bit of a present. I don't know what there's someone's holding a dog. That's a real thing that's happening in there. I don't know what it's maybe a bottle. Is that Dom? I can't tell exactly what it is. It's a bottle of something. Maybe it's a little 1942 or something like that. But either way, they gave Tony V a little present as a congratulations on his first win as a big league manager. And we all know, I mean, this was a major story. He's the first manager ever to go straight from college baseball to being an MLB manager. And after being swept in the opening series by the Yankees, being shut out the first two games, it's sort of a rude awakening on a not very good, what's probably not going to be a very good Giants team this year. But, he also has left this Tennessee team with Josh Elander as the new head coach, and Tennessee is going to take on LSU this weekend there in Knoxville. The Vols right now just 19-10 on the season and 3-6 in conference play. I mean, LSU's 4-5 right now in the league, and that don't feel great. Tennessee just got swept by Vanderbilt and is sitting there at 3-6 with LSU coming in. So I guess it's interesting because of the conversation piece with Tony Vitello. Jay Johnson had media availability here on Wednesday. And with Vitello getting his first win and this being a big storyline. Now, of course, the opening game of the Major League season was Yankees at Giants, the Netflix game a week ago, and when the Yankees shut out the Giants. So Jay Johnson was asked about the possibility of one day maybe being an MLB coach.
Right now, I have zero interest in that at this time. Now, that's at this time. I haven't been offered an MLB job, is what I'll say. I'm fully into this, and there's a lot that we need to do to be the best we can be, and I want to be the best program in the country forever, So, I think it's cool. I think it's awesome. I'm following it closely. I mean, that was my team. I'm from Northern California anyways, so it says score you check, if you turn on ESPN.com. I'm very interested to see how it goes.
That certainly is a change in tone from Jay Johnson, who when he got the LSU job, he would often say it's the best job. Like, he would rather be the head coach at LSU than be the manager of the New York Yankees. But you heard him say definitively there several times, right now. He's not interested right now at this time. And he's watching it. He's interested in how it goes. Because I think what's very clear for all coaches in college in every sport is college is now more closely resembling the pros, where you have free agency and you have a salary cap and you have a lot of different considerations than you did in a different era. And when Jay Johnson came here, if you were the best recruiter and you worked harder than everybody to build relationships and get players and the resources that you have at LSU, you're always going to be the best. Now, Jay Johnson's missing on players at LSU because there's other programs that are spending more money. And one thing I know definitively is Jay Johnson is never going to stand by idly and watch teams that are inferior, coaches that don't work as hard as he does or aren't as good as him, pass him up because he doesn't have the resources to consistently win at the highest level. So I think that's why you have that little bit of hesitation there, change in tone in Jay. Listen, nobody wants to see Jay Johnson leave ever. Want him to be at LSU for the rest of his career. But for that to be reality, he's going to have to get the resources to be the best program forever, as he said it. And that ain't happening right now. And the onus is going to be on a lot of people around that program, that athletic administration, that university administration, maybe even the state, to make sure Jay Johnson gets what he needs to succeed so that way he stays happy for forever. All right, it's after further review. Thanks for hanging out with us here on this Hump Day edition of AFR presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. We're going to knock out a quick break. Sports Center's coming up here at the top of the hour. I'll get you caught up on national headlines. When we come back, with LSU football not on the practice field today, we'll revisit some of what Lane Kiffin had to say a day ago when he met with reporters, including rebuilding that running back room, which I thought was interesting. So we'll revisit that we'll visit that, I should say, as we come back here out of the top of the hour. And John Brady in 20 minutes from right now. We're glad you're hanging out. Hour number 2 of AFR, staring you straight in the face. Don't you move. It's after Sports Center.
After further review.
Yo, get on by and see our friends over at Supper Club. Get your reservation at supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. No matter what reason you might want to go to Supper Club. I told you Saturday we had a fundraising event at Drew's school. When the fundraiser ended, we weren't ready to go home. So Eric and I and a friend went over to Supper Club, didn't have a reservation. We popped in, we grabbed a few bar stools, had a few drinks, a few apps. Super easy way you could do Supper Club. Maybe you're celebrating an anniversary. Cassie, who was in with us yesterday, told you she and her boyfriend were celebrating 4 years. They went to Supper Club for dinner on Saturday night. If it's a wedding anniversary, if it's a graduation, if it's a birthday, if it's a holiday, if it's a just because the day ends in Y, it's always a great opportunity to get by Supper Club. And Chef Layton always doing an awesome job of adding new things to the menu. They got some new steak options coming soon. They always have the Sagrera cuts rolling on. Make sure you check them out. You want the best dining experience of your life, you want Supper Club. Get your reservation, supperclubbtr.com.